Mitchell Karasik for LockerBlogger. We welcome in Dominique Wilkins, one of the 50th greatest players of all time. And Dominique, how you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Well, like to just check in with you, get a little update. It's been a little while. And what have you been up to? Let us, everyone know. Obviously, we all wish you were still playing out there. You're one of the most electrifying players of all time in the NBA. I'm sure you miss being out there on the court a little bit, but what's your life like now these days?
Well, you always miss it a little bit, but the longer you're out of it, you miss it less, but you never lose the love for the game. But, you move on to other things that give you that's the same type of satisfaction. So right now I'm vice president of the Hawks and also the analyst for Fox, and also do a lot of awareness work around the country with diabetes.
Sure, I want to get into all that. We can actually start out certainly with the diabetes. Talk about your involvement in that, what your responsibilities are. I believe you yourself have type 2 diabetes. Talk about living with diabetes and then also what you're doing to try and support it as well.
Well, diabetes is a growing epidemic in this country, and it's a serious thing. So basically what I try to do is teach people three simple components working together that keeps you healthy. That's exercise, diet, and medication. So this is something I'm very passionate about, because I found out I was diabetic when I turned 40. So it's kind of a calling for me. So it's something I'm very passionate about.
Sure. And is there any specific charities that you work with in that context?
I mean, I tell you, I sit on a lot of different boards. I do cystic fibrosis, Big Brothers, Big Sisters. I'm on the board for juvenile diabetes. So, I cover a wide spectrum of things that I'm a part of.
Sure. Now, as far as your involvement with the Atlanta Hawks, it keeps you obviously close to basketball. The Hawks have turned it around. They had that period, of course, with you and Doc Rivers and Kevin Willis, and then a down period. And now they have a good young team on their way back up. Talk about where they are right now and what's the next level they'd like to try and reach this year.
Well, again, it's just about putting pieces together to make that puzzle work. So right now, we're just trying to put the right combinations together that work. We made a couple of trades. We have Jamal Crawford now. We have a good young rookie and Jeff Teague. So we're feeling real good about where we are.
And Jamal Crawford was interesting because he's one of those guys, and you hate to say it, but I think he has the most losing record of any player currently playing in the NBA. I mean, is that a little bit of a concern? Maybe this is a very talented player, but one that has some trouble playing with.
You know what it is. Sometimes you end up on the wrong team.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's basically what happened to him. Never been on a winning team. And he coming to a team like the Atlanta Hawks, a team that's been to the playoffs the last couple of years, is really showing signs of promise. We're going to be a very, very good team.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, he's played on Golden State, he's played with the Knicks, and he's played on a bad Bulls team, so certainly it could be one of those circumstances. And you talk about your team, though. What do you need to do as far as to just mature? Is that all this team really needs to do to reach the next level? And
it is mature. Actually, absolutely. Maturity plays a major part of it. You got to mature as a young team. You got to mature as young players, and the fact that the chemistry that's been built there makes it a little bit easier to play more consistently, because now them guys have gotten used to playing with one another. Now bringing in a guy like Jamal Crawford, Jeff Teague, and hopefully one or two more pieces to the team this year, that's going to definitely make us better.
Now, take a look at it. You obviously would be a very good person to talk about comparing the NBA to today to maybe the 80s and 90s during your generation, because you played then and you're still very much involved in the game now. What do you see as the differences, or are there no differences between when you played?
Well, the game I think then was definitely more physical, because you didn't have really flagrant fouls. You had hand checking. You had no zone defense. You had a lot of things that were different. Now, as the game played the same, of course it is. I mean, you can't do too many things to change the play of basketball. But it was just it was a very physical time in basketball.
When you had, of all your years with the Hawks, was there one year where you can kind of look back and go, you know what, that should have been our year. That should have been the year we won it.
Well, I felt like the year we lost to the Boston Celtics in Game 7, I thought that was our year. to win. If we'd have got by Boston, I thought we would win the championship that year. And they actually, in the year after the year I got traded, well, we were playing excellent basketball, and they made the trade that was ended up being a monumental trade. So that was another year I thought that was a time that we could have won.
Looking back, to when you played, who was the toughest player you played against? I mean, I would think and say Michael Jordan, and many people obviously would say, hey, he's the greatest player to ever play. But who was that one guy you really got geared up for to play?
You know what? It was a lot. At my position, there was a lot of tough players.
Sure.
I mean, it's hard to say one. You look at the small forward position. You had Larry Bird, you had Dr. J, Bernard King, Larry Nance, Aguirre, Worthy, English. It's too many guys. But the guy, I've never feared anybody. The only guy that ever made me nervous was Bernard King.
Just because he could light it up.
He was a machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was a machine.
Yeah. Unfortunately, he hurt his knee, but if not, absolutely.
I tell you what, he still got 40 or 50 on one leg.
Imagine if he had two legs, right? That would have been quite the difference.
He was something else. He was. I mean, I've just never seen a guy who scored the way he scored. I mean, he was like a workman type of guy that, everything he did was blue collar, and there's nothing you can do to stop him. Yeah,
absolutely. Brought his lunch pail every day, and he scored. And obviously, those back-to-back games when he had 50 points were truly remarkable games. Looking back towards the early
I mean,
days,
he was. How I want to say this. I've never seen a guy that get the type of points that he scored, the way he scored. Like you said, back-to-back nights. And a lot of those nights were on the road. I remember he went to the West Coast, actually the Texas Swing. He averaged 50.
Sure. Yes, that's right. I mean, he really was the entire Knick franchise for the most part at that point in time. Looking back to your great memories, was the slam dunk, because that was sort of the beginning of the dunk contest, and then it was you and Jordan, and it was, there was so much hype going back then, and even one of your teammates, Spud Webb, brought a lot to the table. But is that still one of your greatest memories, sort of winning that dunk contest, one of those things you just...
Oh, yeah.
It has to be.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, for us it was great memories, but it was more fun for the fans than it was for us, because, the dunking was a tool I used for intimidation. It really wasn't who I was. It was just a tool I used to back people up. But, when you're known as high slam dunker, that kind of sticks with you, because I tell people all the time, it's hard to get 26,000 points or more on dunk.
This is very true, as you certainly did throughout your NBA career. When you're going through the dunk contest, so you're out there on the floor, Michael's there on the floor, are you guys talking to each other? Are you having fun? Are you talking a little smack? I mean, what's kind of going on between you guys while you're right there on the court?
When you're playing against great players, you don't say a thing. You just keep working. You don't say a thing. The thing you don't want to do with a great player is tick him off by talking too much trash. I mean, because I tell you, when guys talk that kind of trash to me, I took it personally.
Right.
And I would come at them even harder.
So instead of the 40, you might drop 50 on them that night. Absolutely.
It just absolutely, yeah. I mean, I've had those nights where I've dropped 50 or more because a guy likes to talk too much.
Right now in today's game, because you certainly see a lot of it, who would you say is the best player out there? Or you hear LeBron, you hear Kobe. It's tough to just narrow one guy. And I guess you have to maybe point towards Kobe because he's won the championships. But could LeBron evolve into, and he certainly looks like he will, that next level guy that just, wins championship after championship? But do you really have to win the championship to be that guy?
Well, I don't think you have to win the championship to be that guy, but that definitely gives you a much bigger advantage over other guys. And I've been in that situation. You got to look at Kobe. Right now, he's probably the best all-around player in the league right now. But I tell you what, the young guy, LeBron James, is coming up fast.
Absolutely. Well, Dominique, we appreciate a couple minutes, and we hope we can check in with you here on LockerBlogger along the way, and we will talk to you soon.
Okay. Sounds good.
Thank you very much.